Hi, my peaceful presence peeps. Welcome to a pick a card reading. Today, I am going to connect to your guides to channel their divine love and wisdom to you as it applies to you in your toxic work environment. And so you can see right here the spread that I've created for us to do today. We're going to look at the cause of the toxic work environment, get a picture of the overall environment, and also look at its effect both on you and in the company. We're also going to look at you in relationship to the toxic work environment and show you both what your guides want you to know and the actions to take. Plus, we're going to see how you and your toxic work situation will evolve from the past to the present to the future. So I am excited to do this reading for you. First, we're going to go ahead and set sacred space. So I call on the powers of the north, the east, the south, the west. Thank you. I call on the north to power the earth and invite your grounding and healing presence. Blessed be. I call on the air, the power of the intellect, mind, and thought, and invite your healing presence. Blessed be. I call on the power of the fire, activity, action, manifestation. Thank you for your presence. I call on the sacred waters, emotional, nourishing waters of life. We call on you. Thank you, great above. Thank you, great below. We invite all of our spiritual guides who love us, the enlightened masters, the angels and archangels, and any of our ancestors who love us to be present here today. We ask to be clear and accurate channels for whatever information best serves each individual who is watching this reading, and so it is. And so let me first get all the cards together. Let's go ahead. Let's start with pile 1. Pile 1 has this greenstone right there. So this is the cause of your toxic work environment. This is the toxic work environment. And this is its effect on you and in the company. Okay, and so the guides want you to know, block out distractions. You overall are the magician, the power of action, creation, manifestation, self-confidence, clarity, willpower, skill, and creativity. The actions to take involve improving health. After that, we've got the past, like this, present, which looks like this, and the future, which looks like this. So we will talk about those at the end. First, let's talk about the cause of your toxic work environment. This image represents the third eye. People in your environment have really rigid ways of thinking, and they struggle with being flexible and really opening to a higher vision or a different way of doing things. And I feel you probably have experienced a lot of frustration in your toxic work environment. It feels like you might have good ideas that are shut down, or just in general, I feel like you can't be heard, or even like you're afraid to speak out or let your voice be heard. Maybe in the past you've even been shut down. You might have some type of superior or advisor who you feel like talks down to you, and it feels like there's like a culture in general of kind of like a nitpicky, almost like a micromanaging type feeling. And I'm feeling like a lot of people in this organization are feeling really sad about the state of affairs. And the thing is, the reason why they're drawn to it to begin with is this sense of passion. that they have. And so everybody there has some sort of fire and passion for what it is you do, but I feel like as an organization, it's stuck because there's so many ways of thinking that just deflect and deny more visionary ways of thought. And so like I'm noticing this grate is metal, super rigid, and it's almost like the organization itself has imprisoned itself in like a less conscious way of thinking. And I feel like this could apply anywhere from like a business that's been run the same way by the same family for a long time, and so they refuse to like deviate or accept new technologies, like adapt in the field, to like a multinational corporation that has so many rules and bylaws and codes that there's just so many things that are regulated and like any input isn't actually perceived as valuable. So it's like almost like I'm hearing they're a dinosaur in a lot of ways, like they're stuck in the past, and the guides are saying maybe parts of what they do should be stuck in the past. It should become a relic of the past. And so the overall environment, I find this one really interesting because this card is very appealing. It's a woman dancing, her skirts are flowing, she looks vibrant, she looks colorful. And so I feel like this work environment has a lot of appeal to it. It seems like a colorful, creative place, but when you look deeper, the woman isn't just dancing to enjoy. I see her like spinning out of control, and it's almost like the rate and pace of work is forcing her to move more quickly than she normally would. And it's like she's trying to hold on to her skirts as she's spinning and caught up like in the rat race, essentially. And so instead of this just being, a beautiful celebration of life and dance, instead, it's almost like she's a marionette, like a puppet on a string being forced to like move at this pace that just isn't right. And so the effect on you, it's making you really sad. And like I'm seeing like you feel almost like you have to put on, a happy face and put on your professional clothing and like get out there and act as if you're fun and fancy free. But in reality, it looks like you've spent a lot of nights just thinking, is this right? Something doesn't feel good about the environment. And I even feel like you might feel some guilt or been having like an upset stomach or worries, just kind of feeling, anxious, fears about this environment. And I feel like in particular, there may be one or more supervisors that you feel like have been almost monitoring you or almost like out to get you. And so I feel like, the effect on you is you feel like you're almost like a warrior. Like you can't actually relax. You can't actually speak up. You're just kind of showing up. You're playing the part and doing the role. But in reality, you're really sad. You can't actually show your true self in this environment. And it seems like, you're also struggling because it's a workplace. So there's always questions of, if I can't make this work, how will I make income? And so I just see you kind of being caught in a lot of disappointment, justifiable disappointment, I'll add, over this situation. And in the company itself, we got this cheetah, and it's almost like they're trying to push everyone to move so quickly that the actual goal is evading them because, they're in hot pursuit of profit. And it seems like even though they're running as quickly as they can, they still haven't caught the prey. And so I'm just seeing, like, for the company, they're also feeling kind of frustrated. And it seems like realistically, they need to adapt and adjust their expectations to allow for people with different working styles or for plenty of rest and breaks. And I feel like they need to actually allow this creativity to unfurl in the company. But it just seems like there's something holding them back from trying these new things and doing things differently. So that part was the cause, the toxic work environment and its effect on you and in the company. So next question, who exactly is toxic? Okay, we pulled the card. Your immediate supervisor is toxic, which I was saying, I felt this energy of a supervisor. And I'm also feeling like administrators in general are toxic. And in particular, when I pull on administrators, I feel a tight tension around my head, which makes me wonder if you've been having headaches, any sort of just like tension, maybe jaw clenching, jaw grinding. It seems like that would be the reason why. And again, we're going to send compassion to all of the people who come up in this reading, even, who are part of this toxic work environment. We can have compassion for everyone, but that still doesn't mean we like their working style, we like the way they treat us, or we like, their values. So this one, I'm interested to see what advice they have for you. So basically, their main advice from the angels of abundance, it says, block out distractions. And I feel like she wants me to like do this on the screen and like physically block out all the distractions so you can only see this angel. Okay, so it says, your life purpose and other priorities need your undivided attention. So it's time for you to take charge of your schedule and working environment by turning off electronics and avoiding anyone or anything that distracts you from what's important. You already know what these distractions are, and you have the power to responsibly block them out. So, anything that came to mind as I was reading that would be a distraction, and your guides want you to go ahead and just stop paying attention to it. I feel like you have some ideas of something you might be able to launch, whether it's like your own business, a slightly different career path, a creative project, or even, if you decide you want to be a stay-at-home parent or something like that, it feels like really your guides want you to put your attention more on these things. And right now, they may be just hobbies, things that you do as hobbies. But the feeling is, whether it's like pursuing more schooling, spending more time on your hobbies, or cultivating a business interest, your guides want you to focus less on your work life and more on what's possible for you and all those potentials that are out there. And so, when work is done, turn work off. And, you can still go do what you need to do, but just do the bare minimum. Shut the computer off when you're done, step away, and in your free time, think about what's fulfilling and what's fun and what sparks that creative interest, and go ahead and pursue it. And I think spending time in nature is also advised here. Okay, so who are you in all this? You are the magician. You will be able to use your intuition, your own power of manifestation to move forward. And so it shows why you feel stifled here too, because here you're fully empowered. You have so much wisdom to share. And here you're shut down. It's caged off. You can't actually channel all of that through you. And so you need another outlet. And so when you are able to leave this environment, you will have improving health. So the actions to take are to use your own power of manifestation, to have full self-confidence and clarity, to know you need to creatively move forward. And so your guides are saying here, when you're sitting thinking about how unhappy you are at your work, take some time to visualize or dream about what you would prefer. And they're saying the more you daydream and the more you allow these visualizations to come through, the more clues you'll get about what it is that's exactly right for you to do. And they say you can always have a leap of faith. If you're unsure what path to take, you can pray and invite, great spirit, the divine force of love, however you connect to the spiritual presence, whether you call it a god or a goddess or the great void, whatever it is, you have spiritual helpers and you can pray to them and ask for them to help you. You have angels, you can pray and ask for them to help you. So one, create the vision, see the vision, use your intuition to follow it. And two, invite divine intervention through the power of prayer, which is basically just sending out a request to the universe and asking that as it serves the highest good, its equivalent or better, come back to you. And if you're an atheist and the idea of prayer just seems completely useless, you could, instead of praying, just set, the strong intention and have a contemplation. And, you'll often find if you have an intention and you meditate on it, or spend time contemplating it, then you can see, the benefit unfold from spending that time. So the angels, though, if you ever do invite them, let me know how their presence feels to you. Because to me, it feels so amazing. It feels so loving and so wonderful. So, I'm curious if any of you have ever had any angel experiences yourself. So let me go ahead and clear these off because I just want to look with more detail at the past, present, and future. And so past, present, and future look like this. Oops. Okay, so this first one makes me think there's some sort of past life connection because it's an Egyptian pharaoh. And so I'm saying there's something from many lifetimes ago that draws you into this particular environment, this particular workforce. There's skills you've cultivated in past lives that you're currently employing. And there's lessons you need to learn by interacting with different personality types and types of work processes. And so they're showing me right now in the present, there's not a lot of good work going on. This is a place of productivity. Here you can see it's like a workshop where you would hope you could be producing a lot of really cool stuff, but instead, it's not fully expressed. Even though everyone has the tools and such great skills, it's really not feeling like it's coming together. And I just feel like there's even some toxic people, like they're so toxic. They're the type of people like, here's the blueprint that everybody's using. They'll just come grab the blueprint and then be like, why is everyone so confused? Don't y'all know how to build this? Like, there's some real mean people. Like, I hate to think that there's mean people out there, but some people really are like that. So I'm getting this energy of like, almost like a sabotage or subterfuge. And I'm hearing that there can be some drama, and the drama in and of itself distracts everybody from like the goal of the business. It just feels kind of wasteful, I guess, like of everyone's time and energy. And in some ways it's really sad because I see the potential for it to be great, but it's just not being realized. So over here, this is also not fully expressed. This is in the future with you. And so the cool thing about this card, it's like, she's super spicy and she's also super spiritual. And so it's just like, how we can have our everyday physical empowerment here on earth and also have this like sacred awareness and like surrender to the divine. And so I'm just saying, in the future, your next step is going to be integrating more of your physicality with your spiritual nature. You might even feel called to pursue some type of like spiritual or healing career, or something like I'm getting, you may find yourself like spending more time dancing, maybe even wanting to go out like to clubs or like the nightlife. Like I'm feeling like having fun and kind of taking a light approach to life. And, as far as like the toxic work situation goes, I do see yourself getting free of it because this is like you being like, thank goodness I'm out of there. Like I really had to be a tough cookie to stick it out and not just like, break down. But now that I'm free, like I'm so grateful. And so I really feel like the more you're able to come into alignment with your spiritual self, the more quickly you'll see changes in the work environment. And so your guides are recommending, one way to block out the distractions is to meditate. And they say if you meditate at least 15 minutes a day, it'll help clear your mind and help you be in a good space. And you may even get more insight through your meditation. So I hope that helps everyone with pile 1. All right, this is pile 2. We've got a really cool stone right here. And so first we'll lay out the cards. We've got the cause of your toxic work environment. We've got the toxic work environment itself. We've got its effect on you. You don't look too happy with that. And its effect on the company. Then we've got what your guides want you to know, attracting, not chasing. You in this environment, the Lovers card. And then the actions to take, it says unlikely. Then we've got your past, your present, and your future. And we will talk about all three of those more soon. So first, to start off with, the cause, it looks like a moment of disruption. So in this picture, it's showing Odin, a Norse god, and he's the one who got the runes. He hung from this tree for days before he could discover them. And so actually this card is upside down because he should be like this. So it's showing that the cause is that in your space, people aren't using wisdom. Because the thing is, he went there and he hung on the tree and he was granted, this great wisdom. And so it seems like what I'm picking up on are that people in your work, it's almost like they can't hear what people are telling them. It's like they don't want to hear the feedback. They don't want to hear the advice. And so they're almost covering their ears like, nanny, nanny, boo, boo, I don't want to hear you. And so I feel like they do that to their employees where they're like, no, I don't actually care. I don't want to know. And I feel like they do that to themselves where it's like, oh, I have this inner wisdom, but I'm not even going to access it. And I'm just hearing the wind howling so loudly through their ears that it's almost like they can't think straight. And I feel like this business is potentially a pretty high stakes, high pressure environment where there's a big focus on the bottom line. And so I'm feeling like a lot of people almost feel trapped or stuck or hung up in this environment because it just is not what they expected it to be. I feel like there's some stability here because there's the sturdy tree trunk. And so I feel like people are attracted to this environment because it seems sturdy and stable, but there's a lot of tumultuousness. This might be a type of company where there have been a lot of firings or where managers have been let go, or maybe even it's more of independent contracting work, contract work, temporary work. It just feels like even though it seems sturdy at first, a lot of people are feeling really shooken up, shaken off, and shaken out of the environment. So it just seems, pretty tense, honestly. And I'm getting the picture that kind of like a black hole. So I guess that means kind of like a dead end environment too. And I'm hearing unless you're in favor. So there's almost maybe a cohort that kind of bully other people or who feel they're the favored one. So I feel in the business structure too, it creates this feeling of kind of I don't like dealing with some of the people at the business because it's they have a attitude, a entitled attitude, a better than you kind of attitude. And so I can see why the effect on you is to make you feel pretty frustrated. And this picture is so funny because it's you're legit having this primal feeling of just this is so frustrating. I want to scream. I can imagine the steam is about to come out of his ears and he's just looking at, the people at the business, the rules and how they do everything and kind of just so frustrated, feeling it doesn't even make sense. And it's definitely not what you thought it would be like when you first got involved. So the work environment itself is shown here, and this is a pretty pale drawing. So you can see it's just the vaguest outline of buildings in a cityscape. And so, you may work in a big city, you may work in a high-rise building, you may be just one office out of many offices, or doing some sort of administrative task or something with a big company, and it just feels almost you're nameless, you're faceless in the company. You just fade into obscurity. Nobody really pays too much attention to you or values you that much. And They just see you kind of like as like a grunt worker. Like you're here to work, get your output out, and then go. And like I said, they don't really invite like a lot of like wisdom or really want to hear a lot of feedback from others. So the effect on the company, I see that it's an exciting adventure, and I see, the fortune here. So this just shows, that the fortunes are ever changing, and an exciting adventure tells me there's going to be kind of a lot of volatility. So hopefully the people behind this work environment can, see making improvements and transforming as an adventure, because the feeling is that a lot of the excitement is actually coming from volatility within the office. And so, an exciting adventure can have like pros and cons to it. So let's see who exactly in this toxic work environment is toxic. We've got you have toxic clients. The people you're actually serving may be quite toxic. And we've got actually the entire industry that you are in is toxic. So if you'd like, definitely comment below. Let us know what industry you're in that's completely toxic. I'm sure there's quite a few. And so that does match this one too, because the buildings just kind of show just like this vagueness of like a whole industry is here. So this next card, this is what your guides want you to know. And it says, attracting, not chasing. Anything or anyone you chase after will run the other way because of the fears underlying chasing energy. Instead, attract what you need by sending out love, gratitude, and welcoming energy. So with this one, I feel like your guides want you to imagine what you would like to feel at work. So if you would like to feel relaxed, if you would like to feel calm, if you would like to feel nourished, they want you to just take a moment, close your eyes, and just imagine when you step into the work environment, you really genuinely feel that way. And they want you to do this as much as you need to until things start to change. So the thing is, as you do these visualizations, you might notice changes in your actual work environment. As you fill your energy with this positive visualization, your energy frequency will change, and the types of things that you attract and experience can change too. And so the thing is too, with the law of attraction, let's say you decide you want to leave this workplace and go to another one, you still want to focus on what's working well in the workplace you're at, because as you attain that resonance with this vibrational frequency of having already attracted what it is that you want, you will naturally and inevitably bring all the resources and opportunities to you that you need to manifest that feeling. So wherever you're at, pay attention to what's working for you, but that doesn't mean that you can't leave. So as you're doing these visualizations and imagining what it is you want, pay attention to any clues that come to you. You might see it, you might feel it, you might just kind of know, like maybe when you do your visualization, you're in a hairdressing salon, or maybe you're going back to art school, or maybe you're like a pro athlete, or whatever it is. There's so many people who could watch this reading. The guides want you to use your own visualization to see, your unique path moving forward. And then once you know what it is you want to do, because you've checked in with your intuition and received the messages, that's when you can do cool things like the magnet of manifestation. So just imagine you send out a magnet from the top of your head, and this magnet is going to attract all the resources that you need to manifest your opportunity. So you could imagine the client attracting clients, or, a new job offer, or, your own business, or whatever it is, and just feel the magnet pull all of that to you, and then just let that energy fill your body, fill your mind, until every single cell is resonating with that magnetic frequency. And as you do that, you'll see that you're able to manifest changes in your life by using attraction. So this group might also be interested in reading the law of attraction, and so you could always check that out too. Now, when it comes to who you are, we've got the Lovers. The Lovers represent love, harmony, relationships, union, partnerships, sexuality, passion, values, alignment, deep love, a choice, and the strength of two together. So it feels like you do have somebody in your corner. It may be a romantic love interest. It may be someone you love, like a close friend or a relative. And it feels like, you're able to stay centered and balanced because you have this love available. And for those of you who may not have a romantic partner too, your guides want you to focus on loving yourself. And they're saying, put your best foot forward, and you can expect for a partner to come if that's what you're seeking. This isn't exactly a love reading, but I feel like with this group, this love in your life is important here. And so if you already have that love, just know that's something that's helping you stay balanced. But if you feel like you want love in your life, just remember to focus on loving yourself and trust that the universe is inviting, this love into your life. And so as far as actions to take, I pulled this card that says unlikely. And so I think that means you're unlikely to leave this situation anytime soon. So, you may find that when you do the visualizations and you visualize what you like in your working environment and you visualize the energy improving, you may find that the office shifts and things are better. Or you may find that you're offered, a new position in the company that's better. And so you may not make like a huge change, but you can still make subtle changes. And they also say that there will be an opportunity coming your way. And so for now, you may not see it. It may not quite be there yet. And it's unlikely that you'll take action. But when opportunities come, pay attention and know if you want to take those opportunities, you will be supported. Okay, so we've got past, present, and future. Okay, so I'm sorry these are so hard to see the lighting. So the past is like a little girl looking at this, like, could be a crystal ball or just like an orb of light. And so I feel like you were drawn to this industry because maybe even as a child, you thought this would be a nice place to be, the type of work you'd like to do. Feels like you saw, some creative potential there and like a way to spread some light in the world. And, maybe it's something you're curious about, like it might be something in science or technology, or, something that you just loved working on, producing, creating. And so I see, you're drawn to the field because you really felt like it's something you'd really love to do because you've been doing it since you were a child or wishing you could. And in the present, though, you're no longer this like a visionary child. Instead, you're kind of like this somber, buttoned up, kind of dull, almost angry looking man. And so this just shows you've had to really cover up a lot of your inner light and really like try to put the right appearance forward by acting the way you think you need to in this business. And it's making you uncomfortable because you want the freedom of this child, but you're stuck feeling like, you've got to go through the daily grind and, you can't really be yourself. And, you even feel maybe a little isolated or like people aren't listening to you or they're treating you like you don't matter. And so I'm just feeling kind of like a disillusionment at the dreams of your childhood manifesting in this way. And in the future, I'm feeling like you're really weighing the options because you don't want to make a move that you'll regret. And so I'm feeling like this is a dragon. And so a very strong, powerful energy is coming to transform this. And so I'm feeling like the dragon has the fire and the light that your inner child shared. And so the dragon energy is going to come back to bring the magic back to your life. But the thing is, the dragon energy can bring trial by fire. So you might come across challenges or obstacles where, things get heated for a while, or parts of you no longer need burn away, or, it's like the transformative power of fire to take some fuel and ignite into something new. So I'm saying, the dragon's going to bring you some creative spark too, and they're going to help you to get out of the box. So, you can see the circle here, the round frame here, and then here, the dragon's even off the card outside the frame. So I think, as you think outside the box and follow your passions, you're going to get more freedom in your toxic work environment. So I hope that helps. Pile 2. Last but not least, we have pile number 3 with this cool turquoise. Here we go, pile 3. We've got the cause, the toxic work environment, its effect on you, and its effect in the company. Then we've got what your guides want you to know. It says God is your source. You are represented by the Chariot. The actions to take are communicate clearly. And then we've got the past, the present, and the future. All right. So we will talk about all of those later. So first of all, we've got the cause. And so what I'm seeing here is a beautiful work of art showing some birds out in nature, and it's upside down, so this energy isn't fully expressed. So I think the cause of the toxic work environment is a disconnect from nature and also from creativity. So it seems like also there's a lot of pressure to produce, and so people are feeling weak and tired. So being disconnected from nature means, people are staring at screens all day. They may not be allowed too many breaks. Everything's expected to happen at this tempo that's actually pretty unreasonable and unhealthy, but it's just become the standard. And so I'm seeing, in a lot of ways, your work environment may seem kind of common or ordinary, but this card is just a reminder that we've come so far from nature since the Industrial Revolution, and it feels like your work really pulls you away from like natural rhythms. And so the environment itself, I can see you've got to work really hard. I mean, this dude's out there with his oar, like powering through on this canoe. He doesn't have a lot of help. He's all by himself. I mean, there's giant like whales behind him, and there could be threats like around the corner, but it's up to him. He's just out there in the elements on his own. And so I could see why that would feel toxic, because you're having to put in so much work, and I feel like you're not receiving appreciation. And I feel like it's also like a daunting task. And part of you is questioning, why do I have to work so hard? Like it feels like there may be others in your team who really aren't pulling their weight and who are expecting you to do all the work for them. So the effect on you, you feel like a robot. You feel like it's almost like all I am are, arms to row this boat, arms to do the work here, and your brain isn't being used fully. It's not even appearing on the card. You're really shutting down like the human connection that you could have there. And I feel like you're kind of distancing yourself from the work and reconsidering it, because the feeling I get is they're treating you kind of like grunt, like you just got to do the grunt work and do it the way they tell you. But I'm hearing that you are very intelligent, and I'm hearing you kind of like calculating, contemplating what it is you'd like to do. You may have considered getting like some kind of certification or additional training, or maybe even pursuing a different field or a different role. Like it feels like you're really just taking time to kind of take stock of your resume, take stock of what you've accomplished so far, and just considering, where you might be able to use your skill set. And here, your environment in the company, the effect of the toxic work environment I mean, they're banking. They've got tons of diamonds, and the thing is, there may be some unethical actions, behaviors that lead them to manifest these diamonds, but it looks like, they are making money. But your guides are saying too, making money at the expense of people feeling frustrated, feeling stuck, feeling overworked, is unethical in a lot of ways, because we should work to live, not live to work. And so perhaps, your company might almost like exploit the workers a bit, meaning like underpay you compared to how much profits the higher ups are making, and stuff like that. So let's just see who, this one just fell out. Okay, so with you, I got vendors that you work with can be toxic. And also the customers can be toxic. And so it seems like, maybe in your day-to-day life, you interact with different customers or vendors, and they could cause headaches, they could cause problems. And so your guides just want you to know to put up a psychic shield before you go to work. And I've got a video with the 5-level psychic protection shield you can use. And a lot of my clients tell me when they do this, their work environment feels so much better. They'll take on less energy from these other people, and it can just help you to stay stronger even in a toxic work environment. So, what should you know about this? Your guides want you to know God is your source. And I almost dislike that they use the word God, because I know so many people have different ways of conceiving of this energy. And God is like a highly charged one, because people will think of, a particular form of God. And so this is just really saying, there's a loving spirit that is our source. There's a loving source for everyone. God is the power of love. God is always present as love. God is, our loving nature. God is the love that brings us to life. And so this love that a lot of people call God is our source. Okay, so everything you need is supplied by the infinite source of God. The infinite love of the universe will continually supply everything you need. Your faith opens the doorway to receive. So this is where, with prayer, you set out your intention, and with meditation, you open to receive. So anything you need to improve your work life, you can invite God, or you can invite the loving source of all that is, to listen to what it is you need, and just tell the universe, tell this loving power what it is you want, and then just follow your intuition, and you'll see quite often these prayers are answered. So this just says in God, or in the spiritual love, there's no lack or limitation. Rather, there's plenty of abundance for all to share. And the guides really want everyone to know, whatever God you worship, or non-God, or form of God, ultimately, God is love. And so this card is just a reminder that love is your source, and there is a loving presence in the universe that loves every single one of us unconditionally. And so don't forget that there's that unconditional love available to everybody out there. So who are you in all this? You are the Chariot. So you've got movement, progress, action, integration, determination, willpower, control, direction, departure, and courage. So the Chariot makes me think you are considering moving out of this job. And I do see some movement, in these other cards too. So with your own determination and your strength, it seems like you will be able to move forward. And of course, you don't have to do it alone. You have the divine loving source of all that is with you. So God, divine loving source, and the angels and spirit guides are all walking with you as you move forward. And they also say to communicate clearly and effectively. I'm getting the feeling that some of the people you work with, you'll say stuff super clear, but it's almost like they're just so busy yapping, they can't hear what you say, or they think one certain way and the way you think is different, so they just kind of tune you out. I feel like it can be really hard to actually like catch their attention, but when you do, you need to communicate clearly, and your guides say that includes your boundaries. So if you're being overworked, communicating, I need to leave at this time, I am out of the office at that time, or communicating clearly, whether it's looking at your business contracts in more detail, having very clear contracts to make sure customers and vendors know what to expect. And so that is what can help you. So let's clear these away, and we will look more at the past, present, and future here. And with y'all, I got the past, and then I didn't realize, but the present was actually 2 cards, and then the future. So this is really interesting. This is the past, and this is like a robot again. So, like a super robotic form. I feel like they have like a chainsaw or something. They're just like destroying. So to me, this is the energy of destruction. It does make me wonder if you work in a field with like robotics or computers or technology or something like that, because it's showing me like to even get to where you are, you had to study or train or build skill. But, maybe in the past there've been maybe like job cuts or new management or some kind of transfer where they just came in and kind of like changed things, shifted things up, cut things out. I feel like you haven't been able to see the full picture of the past either, because there's a lot that they don't reveal. Like it's almost the feeling of like at this company they put on a show, like on the stage, but there's stuff that goes on behind scenes that's kind of like ugly. And as far as the present, I pulled 2 cards, and I think it's cool because they both actually look really beautiful. Like it would be a nice adventure to go on this bike or on this boat, and they both show movement. So I feel like, you're moving forward and you're kind of keeping an eye out for like your next stop. So it feels like you'll keep going along with this for a while, but when you reach, happier shores, you'll probably stop your boat and change to a different port. And this may also be saying it could really help you to take a vacation. So, a week or 2, if you're able to just go out somewhere in nature. It doesn't have to be, a luxury vacation. It could be, a simple camping vacation, or, just getting a nice house and staying at it, or, traveling to a new city, just something where you change up your scenery, especially if you spend time in nature though. So I feel like not going like to a busy city, but more like going to the forest, going to the beach, going to the mountains. Anytime you're able to do that, even at work, if you're able to just like step outside for some moments during the day to connect with nature, it's going to really help you to ground and not get too caught up in that toxic energy. But in the future, you should be aware, even though you're looking for something new and moving forward, it's not necessarily going to be completely straightforward, because there are some big waves coming. So your guides say you'll be able to navigate the storm, but you'll have to use all the skills that you've built to do so. And I feel like the storm could also be like kind of like waves that hit the industry as a whole that you're in. And so it's almost like a shock to the industry that you'll need to keep your wits about you to move through, but you should be able to do that. So that's all I got for pile 3. Thank you so much, and good luck, everyone, with those toxic work environments. Hope it turns out great for everyone out there.